Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, some interesting news that's out there currently. Tszyu, we know, has been facing a lot of tough opponents here recently, and you got to give him a lot of credit for that. Tony Harrison, Ocampo, Tszyu. Now, I know Ocampo, that was a pretty easy fight for him, and even Tony Harrison is not the same Tony Harrison that we saw in the ring with Jermell Charlo. But regardless, he's been active while waiting for his opportunity to face Jermell Charlo. Well, he's talking about coming back to the ring early 2024, and a possible opponent is Erickson Lubin. Now, we've had Erickson Lubin on his platform before, and one of the things that I said to Erickson Lubin is the charm about 154 pounds is that everybody fights everybody else. I mean, these guys really get into the ring with each other, and I enjoy that. Erickson Lubin is coming off of a big win versus Jesus Ramos, and a lot of people felt like he lost. Personally, we watched that fight live without any commentary. I had Erickson Lubin winning that fight. I know some people are going to dispute that, but feel free to dispute that in the comment section. But regardless, Erickson Lubin doesn't seem like he's going to be going back in that direction if he's in fact a possible opponent for Tszyu. Now, Jay, I would love to see this fight. I absolutely would love it because I feel like Erickson Lubin is a live opponent. I think he's someone who's very skilled, sharp, has good punching power. And I think he would give Tszyu a challenge, probably give him the challenge that we expected Tony Harrison to give, but didn't quite pull it off. And I think with somebody like Erickson Lubin, he's going to punch a little bit more. But we also know that Erickson Lubin is susceptible to power. We've seen him put down before. So it will make for an exciting fight. I think Erickson Lubin brings a skill set that will challenge Tszyu. I think Tszyu has a skill set that will challenge Erickson Lubin. I would be happy to see that fight for sure. But I like what Tszyu is doing. I got to be honest with you, Jay. He's converted me into a fan, dog, because he stayed active. I don't think Ocampo was a big challenge. I don't think Tony Harrison was a big challenge. Even Mendoza, I didn't think Mendoza was necessarily a big challenge, but Mendoza has been successful in the weight class, so more of a challenge than maybe the prior two names. But regardless, he's staying active against some of the more recognizable names at 154 pounds. And just because of that, you have to give him some level of credit. And so because of that, I'm going like he's changing me, Jay. He's making me a fan of what it is that he's doing now. Will he continue to do that? I have no idea. But he's making good on his promise, or at least the words that we've heard him say in the past, which were he wants the best fighters in that division. So, Jay, if this fight materialized, how do you feel about it? Would you say that this is a fight you'd be interested in seeing at the 154-pound division?
Damn right. I mean, because you're going to be watching to see if someone gets knocked out. Tim comes to fight. We know Lubin comes to fight as well. Lubin got power in both hands. And Tim has been about business. Like you said, he's been active. I've been pleased with his activity. Some of the stuff he's been saying I wasn't completely on board with, but after Mel showing against Canelo, now I'm more like, okay, maybe Tim was on to something. Maybe he saw something and knew something I didn't know the way he's been talking. So, I mean, now I give Tim all the credit in the world because he's gone every which way. He wanted to win the belt from Mel. He didn't get that chance. He took the fight with Mendoza, which wasn't necessarily an easy win or easy fight. He took it. He handled business, beat Mendoza handily in that fight there, and this will be just another added person to his resume. That'd be a nice little resume he's had his last five or six fights. I mean, I was questionable on him when Terrell Boucher got dropped early on. I was like, I wonder how he's going to last on that. And then he just steadily improved. Although he fought Tony Harrison, that wasn't the same Tony Harrison that beat Mel in the first fight. He still had some gamemanship there, but he came with about all business. Same thing with Ocampo. Ocampo wasn't, someone I thought was a real threat. And Tim treated him how you're supposed to treat someone that's not on your level. He got him up out in the first round. Mendoza. I thought was going to be a good fight. I thought he would beat Mendoza because Mendoza would be hit like he was being hit against Fundora. And he pounded. He pounded Mendoza in that fight. So he's about his business. I give him nothing but respect, man. I mean, he's wanting to bring last I saw he read on Boxing Scene, he wanted to bring an all Australian fight card to Vegas against Americans. So I don't know if this is something they're talking about contemplating doing, because they're talking about this possibly in March, which is fine. I mean, Tim deserves a break right now. He's fought 3 times this year. Headline 2-0, headline. I think 2 of those fights were were all three, 2 or 3, 2 of them were in Australia. So he took care of business at his home. Now he's ready to go on tour, get some a little bit more money on those fights. And just looking at the rankings, Bachman, we know he's going to be fighting Josh Kuklay for the IBF championship, since that not Josh but Jack Kuklay for the championship that Jamel Charlo just vacated in the IBF. Only other person ahead of him is Xander Zayas, who fights with Top Rank. I doubt they would make that fight happen. And then Josh Kelly, who is a name. Also, his claim to fame for me would be being knocked out by David Avenija in 2021 at 147. So this makes the perfect fight. Lubin had a good showing, I felt, against Tszyu Ramos, who's a good fighter as well. I thought it was a damn good fight between the two of them. I felt Lubin did win that fight. And the fact that Lubin has power in both hands, it makes for an intriguing fight. We know both of them have been down. Terrell Grouchet is not a hard puncher, but he dropped Tszyu. So Tszyu, since that fight, Tszyu has been on his P's and Q's. His defense has been pretty tight. The last 3 fights he's had, he hasn't been really touched like that. He's about business. And seeing Lubin has to stay with his corner. He has to be smart and listen to his corner, because that's what got him in trouble against Tszyu Ramos. Allow himself not listening to the corner, get himself back against the rope, getting his back against ropes. He does against Tszyu, it might be a quick night for him. But if this fight were to happen, I'm all there for it. I mean, this fight is this would be a great early part of the year start to 2024. I know it's in March that they're talking about, but I'll take it.
Yeah, and what we saw there is they talked about potential opponents, and that Tim Tszyu basically said that, not that it was going to be his last fight in Sydney, Australia, but he was more interested in fighting in the States. And they talked a little bit about this in the article, that Tim Tszyu, there's only so many opponents that would make sense for a Las Vegas fight. I think Erickson Lubin would be one of those opponents, and I think that's the reason why he's probably going to end up being a front runner. And Erickson Lubin has proven that he wants to take on the best fighters at 154 too. So the fact that his name is in the running for this particular fight, I think there's a good chance that this fight will take place. This is just my personal opinion. I don't have any inside information in regards to the fight, but just looking at and reading the tea leaves, you want to fight in Vegas, you're going to need a credible name to fight in Vegas. Erickson Lubin makes sense. When you think about the division, all those guys fight each other, and Erickson Lubin has shown a willingness to get into the ring with all of the best fighters. And he said right here on this channel that he's looking to get into the ring with, Fundora, get that lick back, or Charlo, or Tim Tszyu. He's looking for all of those opportunities, right? So I'd be interested in seeing what ends up happening. I look forward to these two gentlemen fighting in 2024 if it happens. So you guys tell us what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are out.